do you locate a college that offers accommodations? That's not easy either, because as you said, all colleges are different.
Yeah, well, to be clear, so I think of sort of three general levels of accommodations and levels of support. The most basic, we're talking about for the sake of this discussion, colleges in the US, which is what I'm most familiar with. Different countries have different systems, but in the US, for all practical purposes, every college will offer disability accommodations by federal law. So if you are entitled to accommodations, whether it's for a learning difference, a physical disability, colleges are required to make reasonable accommodations, just like workplaces. If you're an adult in the workplace, your workplace is most likely required by law to provide reasonable accommodations for disabilities. So that's kind of the foundational level that all colleges offer. Whether all colleges do that equally well is a whole other question that we can come back to. Then some colleges offer additional services. I think of them as sort of a la carte services. Maybe they offer, let's say, academic coaching as a common accommodation for students who have executive function challenges, who struggle with time management, deadlines, organizational skills, which is true for most of the students we work with. So some colleges have that additional service here and there, maybe free, maybe at additional cost. And then the highest level would be a comprehensive support program, a learning support program, or an autism support program that has multiple components to it. It may have academic coaching, but it may also have peer mentors. It may have social events. It may have meetings with a learning specialist, kind of a robust, comprehensive suite of services, frequently at an additional cost, not always, but in many cases, it's thousands of dollars a year above and beyond what you're paying for college. And if you're wondering, like, well, where do I find those programs? I have created a database that you can find on the Top College Consultants website. That's topcollegeconsultants.com. And there's a database of over 200 colleges that you can sort by state. If you're just looking for colleges in Texas or Wisconsin or what have you, you can sort it and see which programs have additional support in the states that you're interested in, and what those programs cost. And there's a link to those programs and so on. It's not commercial. Nobody's paying me to do this. I just created this as a service for free service for families.
No, that's awesome. So the majority of kids with SM have obviously anxiety, social communication anxiety. A percentage of them have some learning challenges, specifically in the area of processing. Like you said, there's other difficulties that they may have as well in learning, because every child is unique. Some individuals are on the autism spectrum and have SM as well. Some have speech and language. I think the percentage obviously is different than the younger children because they develop the skills, but speech and language is a factor that we see in these kids with SM. But I'd say the mental health aspect is, a big one here. So are there specific colleges that you can kind of search out that have a stronger mental health, kind of support program than others?
That is definitely something that's important to research. It's a moving target. It's changing all the time. Certainly with the rise that we've seen in mental health challenges for teens and incoming students, colleges have generally been stepping up and providing more services because the demand has just skyrocketed in the last few years, particularly with the pandemic. And again, if you go to on any college tour and you ask about this, it's pretty common for colleges to have free mental health counseling available to all students. But the devil's in the details. You want to dig further and say, well, what does that mean exactly? When you say you have free counseling, how many sessions are available? Is there a maximum number per semester or per student total, in their college career? Do you provide medication prescribing? Who's providing the counseling? Is it licensed professionals? Is it graduate student interns? And is there a wait list? Is it individual or group? So you want to kind of dig into the details to understand what that really means. And you can also chat with other families who have experience with that college to find out, hey, is it as good as the college says it is? And I find that, for parents communicating with each other is super helpful. I co-manage a Facebook group of parents that's currently over 20,000 parents. So that's a great place for parents to find out, hey, we're thinking about this college. What do other people know about it? Sometimes
great.
parents are communicating in local special education parent groups, CPACs or SPED packs as well. But some of these social media groups can be a super helpful way for parents to learn about that.
Yeah,
And even if there's, decent resources in the college, sometimes students are still going to be getting additional resources from outside of the college. Maybe it's because they don't want to stop with their current therapist and they want to continue with that therapist. In that case, you really need to look at, are you going out of state and can they work with you outside of the state that you're currently located? That's a whole licensing issue. Also true for medication. But that's something, sometimes students are getting off campus supports, which is totally fine. We're talking about professional services, but there's also things like mental health clubs or peer support networks that you might look at. So a lot of colleges have some of these mental health based clubs, like Active Minds is a well-known chain of clubs in colleges around the country.